This is the XRP 1-month overview reading for the month of January 2024. It's currently November 25th, 2023, 4:14 p.m. Eastern Time. XRP at the time of this reading is 0.61928, or just under 62 cents USD. And the shuffle video we're about to play for you for the January reading was created on October 25th, 2023. It's 2:36 p.m. Eastern Time. That's this video down here in the corner. So the overall theme and behavior for January's XRP is a rally that'll stand out on at least a 1-month scale, offering opportunity to close long positions and open up short positions. The opportunity comes at a brief peak that's easily missed, at least one brief peak that's easily missed, followed by a decline through multiple support levels. What's interesting about it is that the theme and the crossing card, the Princess of Wands and the Indolence card, if you look at the 2023 reading, they appear at the very end of 2023. Very interesting. We also have correlations to 2024 in here as well. So we're kind of like right there on the fence. Behavior around the highest side, we have 3 pokes through the same trend line, followed by a sharp decline off of the 3rd poke. And then I'm advised to be very cautious around the lows, multiple false bottoms, or some sort of really tricky chart behavior, usually involving some sort of like unexpected reversal or something like that around the bottom. Before I get into the day-by-day chart behavior, as well as the prominent highs and lows and trades and all that stuff, let's make sure everybody's aware the whole purpose of the channel is to transmute some of the competitive energy of the stock market into goodwill. And we do that by following the rule of karma for the channel. It's the unwritten agreement between everybody utilizing this information for personal gain and the universe. The universe will allow you to utilize this information for personal gain as long as you follow through on the rule of karma. So when you have a profitable trade utilizing this information, you should go to our website, Tarot for Traders, and under Resources tab, scroll down here, donate 5% of the profits forward to one of these charities. That effectively transmutes competitive energy into goodwill, and then take 5% of the profits and donate it back to the channel, transmuting into gratitude energy and abundance mentality. It leaves you with 90% of the money. Make sure to spend that money out of love. As long as you follow those rules, my friends, the universe considers you an angel investor of the channel. It's going to send it back to you tenfold through this channel. Neglect to follow through on your end of this agreement, the universe will neglect to follow through on its flow of abundance through this channel to you. So be forewarned, my friends, and let's get back into it. All right, so it's important to understand that each card represents about 1 day of time, but not each card's energy is going to line up perfectly with 1 day of time. So we want to give it plus or minus 1 day of wiggle room. In very rare cases, plus or minus 2 days. That happens very rarely. I consider those bad readings. And in many cases, there won't be any plus or minus required. But the point is you want to follow the sequence of events, the sequence of chart behavior that's predicted. When you find yourself deviating a little bit off from the timing, make sure to follow the sequence of events, and that will keep you on track. And always remember to trade responsibly, my friends. If you bet the house, it'll be the time I'm wrong, and I am wrong sometimes, my friends. So remember that. All right. So on the first, we have sideways fluidity, equal amounts of bulls and bears, inflow and outflow. That can either be like a tight range back and forth along support, or it can be some wide price swings. Hard to say, but there'll be at least one notable decline on a 1-day chart off of a crest. On the second, we have a period of volatility that ends with a fast sudden move higher, and then a lot of price change on the third there. A lot of price change involving a resistance level that's important on a multi-day scale, at least on a 1-month scale. And there's a lot of price change from that. So we probably see some back and forth behavior, but with a lot of price change in between the bottoms and the lows there on the third. At some point, we're rallying out of the third, or early in the fourth, we're rallying, but that rally is halted with a decline through a key support level on a multi-day scale, taking us to a trough midday, and then a lower trough end of day. Big move out of that trough to the upside, taking us to a crest. And on the 5th, we have an overbought crest or peak. Interesting, that brief peak that's easily missed, followed by a decline. It appears to me that it's very likely here around the 3rd, 4th, 5th, probably the 3rd. We might see it again, but hard to say. In a lot of January readings, there's a peak around the 3rd. On the 6th, we have a period of sideways rotation and a sharp drop that stands out in that period of sideways rotation. That's after the crest on the 5th that we sell off from through multiple support levels. On the 7th, we have a peak early in the day. A lot of price change there on the 7th as well. It's possible we revisit the same price level as the 3rd, but either way, whether or not we do, there's a lot of price change there, allowing for one to trade both directions, and I'll talk about that in more detail in the paid version. Be careful for that unicursal hexagram drop, which actually looks like it's taking place around the 5th. Thank you, Hermes. I love you too. On the 8th, we have the abundance card. Usually indicates like a new local high at least. But we have there'll be a peak where we break up through resistance, and then we break back down through that same price level shortly thereafter. A breakout on a multi-day scale early in the day on the 9th to a peak, followed by a full retracement of that, move back down and some to a trough around the cusp, or actually mid to late day on the 9th. And then we have a U-shaped dip on the 10th that forms near the intersection of 2 perpendicular diagonal trend lines. Looks like the trough at end of day on the 9th is a peak on the 10th, and then that same peak at end of day on the 11th. A lot of volatility on the 11th of turning into a rally along a diagonal trend line into the 12th. That rally does end on the 12th with a fast sudden move higher, and then a breakdown through that diagonal trend line with increasing volatility on the way down into a trough around the cusp of the 12th, 13th. Yeah, before that crest on the 13th, there's probably a notable decline at the end of the day on the 12th into a trough there, it looks like. And then there's a really big move to the upside, possibly to another prominent high there on the 13th. But there's a range that's highlighted on multi-day scale on the 14th, and a peak on the cusp of the 14th, 15th within that range. On the 15th, volatility, possibly another peak, sharp drop within that period of volatility. And then on the 16th, a rally that increases with the momentum moving forward in time. But that rally continues into the 17th, and then looks like some sort of turnaround or reversal there on the 17th or the 18th. There's a prominent trough on the 17th, 18th. So prominent peak on the 16th, 17th, prominent trough on the 17th, 18th. Be careful on the 18th. Intentional sort of misdirection chart behavior-wise on the 18th. Either that or like a really scary decline on the 18th. Whatever it is, like be careful not to do the wrong thing there and be scared out of your position or scared into doing the wrong thing. Don't make a decision out of fear there, in other words. All right, so that's probably a decline on the 18th. And so the decline on the 18th continues into the 19th most likely, but there's a fast sudden move higher on the 19th, ending that period of decline. Turns into erratic behavior on the 20th, back and forth through the same price level, in the midst of which we revisit a crest that was recently a past opportunity. There's a trade opportunity in there as well. I'll talk about that in paid version. On the 21st, we have 3 crisscrosses back and forth through the same price level, confirming a bullish trend. So first up, then down, then back up. There may be a day trade in there as well. I'll talk about in the paid version. Peak or crest that will stand out on the 1-month chart there around the cusp of the 21st, 22nd, and then a notable decline into a prominent trough around the cusp of the 22nd, 23rd. Multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance around the 23rd, and it looks like peak or crest towards the end of the day on the 23rd. Breakout through that resistance on the 24th. A lot of price change on the 25th. 3 trade opportunities there, so there's very likely a day trade opportunity in there, as well as a swing trade opportunity. I'll talk about in more detail in the paid version, but we have a prominent peak towards the end of the day on the 25th. Oh, I should say a lot of price change on the 25th. A lot of price change between the high and the low there on the 25th. A fast sudden move higher on the 26th. Same thing goes for the 27th. A lot of price change and probably a day trade opportunity there as well. A peak or crest at the end of the day. I'm advised not to chase that rally there at the end of the day. Sideways rotation along key support on the multi-day scale there on the 28th. And then we declined pretty notably on the 29th to revisit a trough that we recently met, support level that we recently met once before. It's a prominent trough on a 1-month chart. On the 30th, another prominent trough on a 1-month chart. We do sideways rotation around that trough that is establishing support, and then there's a notable move higher in a 1-month chart, followed by more sideways rotation at a higher support level. It'll be at a key resistance most likely there on the 30th, and then there's a crest on the 31st that we sell off from down 2 and through support to meet a second support. We decline through that support, and then do a U-shaped reversal below it, come back and reuse it as support. Important technical price level on a multi-day scale, probably on like a year-to-date scale, I should say, is highlighted in February. The science card, interesting. Well, we'll get into that in more detail in the paid version. Guys, if you're interested in the paid version, what you get in the paid version, not just everything that you've seen so far, but also where the highest of the prominent highs is. So where the highest high is, the timing of that, any price level information that we may have, timing of the lowest lows for the month as well, how those highs and lows fit into multi-month kind of time frame, any trades that might be relevant on a multi-month time frame, and then any trades that might be relevant on a multi-year time frame, and then its performance compared, January's performance of the XRP in comparison to Bitcoin. All that in the paid version. It's a really great way to support the channel, and we definitely remember the names of everybody that goes ahead and supports the channel with one of these paid subscriptions. So the way that you get it is you go to our services on our website, terrorfortraders.com, hover over our services, click on SO Meta Posts, scroll down to monthly subscription, click here to order, and you can subscribe to any of these crypto or ticker symbols, I should say. If you're interested in more than one, I highly recommend the 30 days access to all paid monthly predictions. It gives you access to the paid version of every one of these ticker symbols in crypto, as well as Amazon, Google, and Nvidia, which you can only get the paid version of through this 30 days access to all paid monthly. Much appreciation to everybody that goes in and does that. You guys are the core foundation of support for the channel, and really you're a big part of our goal and our mission here at Terror for Traders, because without you, we wouldn't be able to put out this content. So thank you very much. Blessings to you. Before we go any further, let's take a look and see how we're doing for XRP's November reading. So we had a brief peak that was we have an overbought peak or crest on the 5th that we sell off from through multiple supports, and it looks like we were off a day. It ends up being there on the 6th, but we have lowest lows here on the 2nd, 3rd, and it looks like we nailed that there on the 2nd, 3rd, first, 2nd, 3rd with that cross-suiting congruency. Also on the 1st, we saw a prominent peak and crest there, or a prominent peak and trough there, so that's looking pretty solid. I have the highest high as here at the end of the month, so hard to say if we nailed that, but we did have some other locations where we were likely to see a lowest low around the 16th and the 19th, and you can see we had it on the 14th, we had it on the 17th, so it's kind of like off by a day there, and then another lowest low there. I have it for the 19th, ends up being on the 22nd. That's kind of like as far as I would consider it still being accurate. It's a little far off. Usually we're not 2 days off. Matter of fact, looking at the reading, it's literally telling me it's here on the 21st, 22nd, but for whatever reason, I have it on the 19th. Oh, because we have it on the 19th, we have it on the 18th as well, so we came close, and then again on the 21st, 22nd, which I kind of missed. But with that said, we then turn around, and we should see a highest high here around the 28th, 29th. That's after a little bit of a decline on the 26th and the 27th. So this is looking like a pretty solid reading. We had another prominent high, or close to a highest high on the 10th, 11th as well, and it came close there. What this full card really stands out here, the full card on the 14th. Right here on the 13th, we had this big move out of nowhere and then back down. That was that full card move. Not bad, not my best work, but if you followed any of the trades here, you would open up a long position around the 1st or the 3rd, or you would open up a long around the 1st, close it on the 3rd, or if that didn't work out, added to the short position or the long position on the 3rd and then closed it on the 5th. So we would have closed it a little bit early, but with that said, it still would have been a pretty solid game. You could open up a short position there on the 5th. We have it for the 6th, so you might have got scared out there, but with that said, then you turn around and we come back into places where there's obviously opportunity to close out of that short position. On the 10th and 11th, we have a price level that you can position yourselves in both directions and make money, and you can see, boop, and then down here, that works pretty well. The trades would have worked out pretty well. The trades really would have worked out pretty well. If you open up along around the 19th, if you open up along around the 21st, 22nd, so far, so good. Pretty decent reading. Let's get back into it. As always, make sure to follow that rule of karma, my friends. You know where to go. You know what to do. I'll see you guys on the next one. Stay tuned if you got the paid version.